You ever have one of those moments where everything in your life snaps into focus and not in a good way? Mine happened in the front seat of a Honda CR-V on a Friday morning in May. My name's Mike Carrington. I'm 36, an architect, and I used to think my marriage was solid. Maybe not thrilling, but stable. 8 years with Olivia, my wife, my best friend, the person I thought I'd grow old with. Turns out I didn't know her at all. That morning, I was driving Olivia and her 3 friends, Lauren, Haley, and Brittany, up to some spa retreat in the hills. 5 hours of winding roads, lavender-scented chatter, and wellness podcasts blasting on the Bluetooth. Not exactly my idea of a good time, but she'd begged me to drive. Said it'd mean a lot. I had plans with Ethan, my best friend, but she worked her charm, tilted head, soft voice, that little pout she always knew would win, and like always, I caved. I remember the sun just starting to rise as we hit the highway. I was focused on the road, sipping gas station coffee while the girls talked in the back seat. Mostly harmless stuff. Botox. Pilates. This new green juice trend. And then I heard it. Olivia's voice, clear as day. He's like a rescue dog. Feed him and he wags his tail. So easy to control. The girls burst out laughing. I didn't flinch. Didn't say a word. I kept my eyes on the road like nothing happened. But inside? Something cracked. Something small but sharp. A splinter in the trust I'd built my whole life around. She had no idea I heard her. Maybe she forgot I was even there, just the driver, the background character in her spotlight. The guy who fixes the sink, folds the laundry, makes her coffee just the way she likes it every morning. I dropped them off at the retreat, pretending everything was fine. Olivia gave me this breezy kiss on the cheek and said, "Ugh, I love you, but our sheets smell like you. Can you wash them while I'm gone?" I nodded, smiled, and drove home with my chest hollow. But here's the thing. I wasn't heartbroken. I was humiliated. And that humiliation? It lit something up inside me. Because when I got home, alone, in the house we shared, I started noticing things. Little things. Big things. Things I had ignored for years. This place? It wasn't mine. Every photo on the wall? Her choosing. Every throw pillow, every candle, every damn piece of furniture? Her taste. Even the closet, 70% hers. My side looked like a guest room. And slowly a thought crept in. What if this whole marriage wasn't really ours? What if I'd just been living in a life she designed for her comfort, not our love? I didn't want to believe it. But then I found her laptop. And when I opened it, everything changed. I didn't mean to snoop. I really didn't. But when the delivery guy knocked and handed me a box for Olivia, I figured I'd just leave it in her home office. That's where she always kept her little productivity toys, color-coded planners, ring lights, vision boards that looked like a cult scrapbook. Her laptop was open. Now look, I'm not proud of what I did next. I'm really not. But when your wife calls you a rescue dog behind your back and laughs with her friends like you're some joke, something inside you shifts. So I sat down and touched the trackpad. The screen lit up. No password. And there it was. A chat window, still open. Group name, Rescue Squad Dog Face. Members, Olivia, Lauren, Haley, Brittany. I hesitated. Then I read. The first message was from Olivia, sent just a few hours ago. Mike folded the towels again. I swear, if I give him a treat every time he obeys, he might learn tricks faster. Face with tears of joy. Lauren replied. OMG. Does he wag his tail when you smile at him? Then Brittany. Girl, you've trained him. Like a man-shaped Roomba. And Haley. No way Russell would ever let me walk all over him like that. You got yourself a golden retriever and a paycheck. I stopped breathing for a second. Russell? I didn't know the name. Yet. I kept scrolling. The messages got uglier. More screenshots. Photos of me fixing the leaky sink. Me painting the spare room. One of them recorded a video of me in sweats humming while vacuuming. They added captions like it was a meme. The Husband Simulator 3000. No spine, no questions, just chores. That's when the heat hit my chest. Embarrassment? Rage? I don't even know. I clicked over to her calendar. It was worse. Meetings scheduled at strange times. Wellness workshops. Leadership retreats. Some of them were real, yeah. But others? Thinly disguised. And Russell? He wasn't just some random guy. He was Olivia's boss. Married. 2 kids. CEO of some coaching firm that taught emotional recalibration and partner management, aka how to manipulate your spouse without looking like the villain. I clicked on an email thread. Subject line, next phase, promotion and separation strategy. In it, Olivia outlined her plan to get promoted within the next 6 months and then initiate divorce proceedings once her position was secure. She called me a low-risk detachment, a stepping stone. She was planning to leave me. She was using our joint account to pay for coaching on how to emotionally phase me out without triggering guilt or legal mess. I closed the laptop, sat in that office for almost an hour. Everything was still, quiet, except me. My pulse was pounding in my ears. And here's the thing, I didn't cry. I didn't punch a wall. I didn't scream. I just sat there and realized I had been erased long before she ever packed her bags. But if Olivia thought she was walking away clean, she had no idea who she was really married to. Not yet. You know what's funny? I used to think of myself as the calm one, the safe one. I wore that like a badge of honor. But sitting there in the office, Olivia decorated with pastel colors and fake diplomas from leadership workshops. I felt something sharp cut through that calm. Not anger. Clarity. I wasn't going to scream or send a rage text or storm into her spa weekend demanding answers. No, that would have made it easy for her. She'd spin it, call me emotional, controlling, insecure. I wasn't giving her that. If Olivia was planning a slow, calculated exit, then I was going to beat her at her own game. The first person I called was Ethan, my best friend since college. The guy who'd seen me through everything. I didn't sugarcoat it. I think Olivia's been having an affair with her boss. And she's planning to leave me. There was a long silence on the other end. Then Ethan said, "You want me to come over or grab a shovel?" I laughed. A real laugh. First one in days. "I need a private investigator," I said instead. By Monday I had one. Her name was Rena Kim. Ex-military, now a PI with a surgical eye for patterns and a Rolodex full of digital tools you didn't even know existed. She met me at a diner near the old train depot, ordered her coffee black, and didn't blink once as I laid everything out. She nodded. "We'll find everything. Just stay quiet. Don't change your routine." "Why?" I asked. "Because she thinks you're still sleeping." That line stuck with me. I started playing the part perfectly. Olivia came home from the spa trip refreshed, radiant, and full of fake affection. She kissed me on the cheek, asked how my weekend was, and gave me a box of herbal tea like that erased the digital graveyard I'd discovered in her laptop. I smiled, said thank you, slept beside her like nothing was wrong. But during the day, I opened a new bank account, transferred just enough to not raise suspicion, put a deposit down on a storage unit an hour away in Arlington, bought boxes, bubble wrap, and labeled everything. Her closet? Slowly packed. Her files? Copied, then removed. I took photos of everything, her calendar, receipts, chat logs. I logged every day she worked late, every night she needed space. And I kept meeting with Rena. She was piecing it together like a mosaic, credit card trails, burner emails, phone pings, even parking garage footage. And every day, Olivia smiled like the queen of a kingdom she thought she controlled. What she didn't know, her kingdom was crumbling. Because I wasn't the rescue dog anymore. I was the storm she never saw coming. About 3 weeks into the quiet war, something shifted. Olivia started getting bold. Like she was trying to see how far she could push the act before I snapped. She'd drop passive-aggressive comments disguised as jokes. "You're so good at taking orders," she'd giggle when I'd cook dinner. Or, "I swear you were trained in a past life." I'd smile. Play along. Because that's what she expected. Her loyal dog. Obedient. Grateful. Blind. But I was watching everything. She started working late again. Twice a week became 3. She'd come home smelling like high-end cologne that wasn't mine and say, "I hugged Russell goodbye. It's just a scent, Mike. You're being paranoid." I'd nod, kiss her on the forehead, and jot down the time she walked in. Rena was building a dossier thicker than a wedding album. Photos. Hotel logs. Business trips that turned into romantic getaways. She even recovered deleted texts, ones Olivia thought were long gone. "You free Friday?" He's still clueless. "I'll tell him I'm working late. Bring the same wine. I'll wear the dress you like." Russell wasn't just a fling. He was a whole second life. And Olivia? She wasn't torn about it. She was proud of the illusion she maintained. That's what gutted me the most. She didn't just lie. She lived in the lie. And I was just furniture in the background. I started boxing up the rest of her things. I had a system now, kitchen to bedroom, left to right. Anything that smelled like her, reminded me of her, looked like it belonged in her curated little world. I packed it. Every time I sealed a box, I felt lighter. I left the bedroom untouched. Not out of sentiment. Because that was the final step. And when I got there, she'd be out of my life for good. Then, one Thursday evening, Olivia came home glowing. She threw her bag on the counter and poured herself a glass of wine. "I got the promotion," she said, not even trying to hide the glee. I looked up from my laptop and gave her the best performance of my life. That's amazing, Liv. I'm proud of you. She didn't hear the way I said it. She didn't hear anything anymore. She was already halfway out the door, mentally. She took a sip of wine and said, let's go somewhere to celebrate. Just us. One last trip before things get busy. One last trip. She almost said it out loud. I smiled and nodded. Yeah, let's do that. But in my head, the countdown had already started. And she had no idea her finish line was about to become a trapdoor. The thing about a well-played revenge? You don't rush it. You let it simmer, slow, and quiet until the silence does the talking for you. The night after Olivia's big promotion announcement, she fell asleep with a smile on her face and her phone clutched in her hand. Probably texting Russell under the covers. She never imagined I knew. She never imagined I'd already packed half her life into a 10 by 10 storage unit an hour outside the city. And she definitely didn't know I'd already changed the locks. That Friday morning, I waited for her to leave iced coffee in one hand, leather tote in the other, heels clicking like a metronome of entitlement. She kissed my cheek without looking me in the eye and said, be good today. I was very good. As soon as she was out of the driveway, I got to work. Ethan pulled up in his pickup around 10 a.m. We didn't talk much. Didn't have to. He just nodded and started helping me carry boxes to the garage. Books, shoes, makeup organizers, designer bags she hadn't touched in years but needed for her image. I labeled every box in neat black marker. Closet, Liv. Office desk, Liv. Bathroom, vanity junk. By noon, the place already looked cleaner. Quieter. More like mine. At 2:30, I met with my lawyer, Delia Martin. She didn't waste time with pity or small talk. Just glanced at the folder of evidence Rena and I had built, nodded once, and said, we'll file a no-contest petition. Strategic clauses. No alimony, no asset bleeding. Just clean lines and silence. I signed the first draft that day. Delia looked over her glasses at me. You sure you're ready for this? I've never been more sure of anything in my life. That weekend, I moved into Ethan's guest house just for a while. Clean space. New walls. My own keys. I didn't tell Olivia. I just let her come home. And find nothing. No furniture. No scent of dinner cooking. No shoes at the door. Just a quiet house and a note on the counter that said, Storage Unit 44B Crenshaw Depot. Code 1782. The locks? Already changed. Utilities transferred. My name off the lease. I didn't block her. I just never picked up the phone. She texted. Called. Left voicemails with a shaky voice that jumped between confused, angry, and almost tearful. Mike, what is this? Where are you? What the hell is going on? You don't just leave talk to me. I didn't do anything wrong. That last one made me laugh. But I still didn't respond. Instead, I sent a copy of the apartment key and the storage unit details to her sister, Ashley, along with a simple message. She'll know what it's for. By Monday, Olivia had started calling Ethan. By Wednesday, she showed up to his house. I watched from the upstairs window as he met her at the front gate, arms crossed, voice low. She was crying. But they weren't real tears. She hadn't even begun to understand what was coming next. I didn't expect the knock at the door. It was a Saturday afternoon, late March. I was sitting in Ethan's backyard, sipping coffee, the sun low and gold over the fence line. Peaceful for once. Then I heard the front gate click. Footsteps. Not Olivia. Lauren. One of them. One of the girls from the rescue squad dog-face. The same one who called me a trained husband like I was some kind of circus act. I opened the door halfway, bracing for the usual performance, tears, guilt, maybe even gaslighting. Instead, she looked like she hadn't slept in days. I know I'm the last person you want to see, she said. Good guess. She exhaled. I'm not here for Olivia. I'm here because I can't live with it anymore. That made me pause. She reached into her bag and pulled out a manila folder. Thick. Worn. Tightly rubber-banded. Everything, she said. The stuff she hid from even us. Emails, photos, bookings. She was never just talking to Russell. It's worse than you think. I didn't reach for it right away. You part of the circus too, Lauren. Why now? She looked down, ashamed. I was. At first. It was a joke, you know? Fun. Olivia made it sound harmless, just venting. But it turned into something else. Mean. Manipulative. And Russell. Her voice dropped. He's married. Has kids. Olivia didn't care. She wanted the promotion and he offered more. She finally handed me the folder. I thought you deserved to see all of it. I nodded. Why are you really here, Lauren? She hesitated. Because I don't think she realizes what she's lost. And I do. Then she left. I didn't open the folder right away. I sat with it in my lap for a while, staring at the string tying it shut. When I did open it, I lost whatever little thread of sympathy I had left. There were hotel confirmations, dozens. Text threads where Olivia and Russell made plans while I was home fixing the sink, painting our bedroom. There were even screenshots of Olivia bragging to Haley. He thinks I'm at yoga. We've got a suite on the 8th floor. I might let him take pictures this time, winking face. That one made my skin crawl. She hadn't just betrayed me. She'd documented it, gloated, built a scrapbook of deceit and thought no one would ever see it. That night, I copied everything digitally and physically, sent it in a neat little packet to a list. Her parents, her boss, Russell's wife, my lawyer. No words, just the truth. By Monday morning, Olivia's world started crumbling. I didn't check my phone, but Ethan did. She's calling everyone, he said. Even your mom. I chuckled. Let her. She thought silence was her weapon. But in the end, it was mine. By Tuesday morning, the texts slowed. By Wednesday, they stopped. That's when I knew Olivia had shifted gears. The silence wasn't surrender. It was strategy. And I knew exactly what was coming next. Olivia was always a master at controlling a room. Her whole career in marketing wasn't built on logic, it was built on spin, appearances, image. And now that her personal brand was under siege, she went into full crisis mode. First, she hit her Instagram with a photo of a cup of tea and a soft-lit caption. Healing is not linear. Dove, thank you to those who've stood by me during this incredibly painful time. Some truths aren't as they appear. Then came the text to Ethan's wife, Mandy. Can you talk? I think Mike's having a breakdown. And finally, the message that really made my blood run cold, sent to my mother. He's not himself. He's been distant, paranoid. I think he's struggling with depression. I didn't want to say anything before, but now I'm worried. She wasn't trying to apologize. She was trying to rewrite the story, to flip the script before anyone could ask why I left, before anyone saw the folder, before they could line up the receipts, the photos, the dates. She was painting herself as the victim, and me as unstable, unhinged, maybe even abusive. The messages weren't frantic, they were calculated, calm, measured, designed to look credible. But Olivia made one mistake. She underestimated the people in my life. My mom called me the minute she read the message. Sweetheart, she said, voice calm but firm. Do I need to show up with a shovel? I laughed so hard I nearly dropped my phone. Then came the fallout. Rena confirmed that Olivia's company had quietly opened an internal investigation. Russell had been temporarily suspended. Word around the office was that someone leaked a package of documents to HR, including the affair, the misuse of company funds, and the promotion for favors scheme. By Thursday, Olivia had deleted her Instagram. By Friday, she showed up at Ethan's house. Again. But this time, she didn't knock. She pounded, screamed, demanded to see me. I watched from the upstairs guest room window as Ethan opened the door, calm as ever, hands in his pockets. She was a mess. Hair undone, makeup smudged, that same silk blouse she wore when she got promoted wrinkled at the sleeves. I need to talk to him, she barked. No, Ethan said. Her voice cracked. Please, he has the wrong idea. I loved him. Ethan didn't flinch. Did you love him while you were laughing with your little squad about training him to sit and stay? Her mouth opened, but nothing came out. Yeah, he said. Didn't think so. He closed the door. And for the first time in our entire marriage, Olivia Carrington didn't get her way. She stood there for a few seconds, staring at the door. Then she turned and left. But I knew she wasn't done. Because people like Olivia, they don't fall quietly. Divorce hearings aren't like what you see in movies. No dramatic shouting. No last-minute objections. It's cold. Clinical. Just a tired judge, some paperwork, and a few signatures that change your entire life. Our hearing was scheduled for 9:15 a.m. on a gray Thursday in courtroom 2B. Olivia walked in late, of course, her heels echoing across the tile like a metronome of denial. She was dressed like she was going to war. Dark blue suit, tight bun, full makeup. Not a trace of vulnerability. That's her game, control the optics, control the story. But the second she sat down across from me, I saw it. The cracks. Her eyes flicked toward me, expecting something. Maybe a flinch, a twitch, a look of hesitation. She got none of that. Just me. Calm. Collected. Not angry, done. Delia, my lawyer, slid the folder across the table with deliberate quiet. This is a no-contest filing with agreed-upon terms, she said, cool as ice. Equal division of joint assets. No alimony. Clean split. We'd like this finalized today. Olivia blinked. Twice. Then looked at her lawyer like she hadn't seen any of this coming. No alimony, she repeated, voice tight. Excuse me. Delia stayed composed. You both earn comparable salaries now. And considering your recent promotion. I earned that, Olivia snapped. I didn't say you didn't. Olivia's lawyer leaned over to whisper something, but she waved him off. Her hands were shaking now. Just a little. But I noticed. Mike, she said suddenly, leaning forward like we were still alone in our kitchen, we don't have to do this here. Can we talk outside? I didn't move. I think everything that needs to be said is already on paper, I replied. Her voice rose. So that's it? You're just gonna pretend none of this mattered. I stared at her. And for the first time, I said the thing I'd been holding for weeks. No, Olivia. I'm done pretending. She laughed, but it wasn't a real laugh. It was cracked. Dry. You don't get to just erase me, Mike. You erased yourself. That shut her up. The judge came in. Everyone stood. Papers were shuffled, formalities exchanged, signatures made. And that was it. 23 minutes later, I was no longer her husband. But before I could leave, she stood up so fast her chair scraped back hard on the floor. She reached for the file, slapped it off the table, pages scattering across the tile. Everyone froze. You think you're the good guy? She hissed. You think walking away makes you noble? No, I said softly. It just makes me free. And I walked past her, through the courtroom doors, past the stunned clerk, and out into the sunlight. She didn't follow me. Because for the first time in her life, there was nowhere left for her to go. It's a strange thing, walking back into a place that used to be yours and realizing it never really was. After the divorce was finalized, I returned to the old house once, just once. Not to take anything. Not to confront Olivia. Just to feel it. I still had the spare key. She hadn't changed the locks. When I opened the door, it was quiet. Too quiet. The air felt different. Hollow, like the house was holding its breath. Her scent was gone. The candles replaced. The throw pillows rearranged. But the bones were the same, white walls, spotless hardwood, the framed wedding photo still hanging like a ghost in the hallway. I walked through it room by room. Kitchen. Living room. Bedroom. Each one stripped of warmth like it had been sterilized. She tried to scrub me out of it. And maybe she thought that would help her forget. But the thing is, when you erase someone, you also erase the part of yourself that was real. I didn't take anything. Not the records. Not the tools. Not the box of notes we'd written each other during the early days. She left that in the closet, shoved behind a suitcase like it didn't matter. I left it there. Let her live with it. Because I wasn't taking scraps. That night, I moved into Ethan's guest house permanently. It wasn't fancy. One bedroom, a desk, a view of the garden. But it was mine. I cooked for myself. Took long walks. Sat in silence and let the weight of it all settle on my shoulders. No distractions. No drama. Just time. Time to breathe. Time to unlearn every part of myself that had shrunk to fit Olivia's version of me. And in that silence, something unexpected happened. I remembered who I was before all of this. The guy who built things with his hands. The one who used to sketch furniture designs for fun. The guy who dreamed of opening a small studio not to get rich, just to make. So I signed up for a woodworking class. Thursday nights, taught by a retired carpenter named Don who swore more than he breathed and smelled like cedar chips and black coffee. It was the first time in years I felt like I was building something that would last. And then there was Camille. I met her at the community garden 2 blocks from Ethan's place. I was helping install raised beds for a spring planting project, and she showed up late, messy bun, overalls, holding a tray of seedlings like they were made of glass. She asked if I had a wrench. I told her I had 5. She smiled. And I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. No games. No flirting. No masks. Just a simple conversation about soil, tomatoes, and which plants hated each other. We talked again the next week. And the one after that. I wasn't rushing into anything. I wasn't looking for a next. I was just breathing again. And Camille? She never once asked what I did for a living. She just asked how I was doing. That was new. That was everything. I didn't expect to hear her name again. Not after everything. Not after the court, the folder, the final silence. Olivia had vanished from my life like smoke, and I had no reason to look back. But damage doesn't disappear. It lingers. Echoes. And in Olivia's case? It boomeranged. It started with a call from Ashley, her sister. We hadn't spoken since I sent her the storage unit code. She called out of the blue one evening while I was sanding down a bench in Don's workshop. I know you don't owe me anything, she said. But I thought you should know what's going on. I didn't answer right away. She lost the job, Mike. Russell's gone too, terminated last week. Internal audit revealed everything. Someone forwarded the emails. They found hotel charges on the company card. Client dinners that weren't client dinners. It blew up. I didn't say a word. She's blaming you, Ashley added, her voice low. Told our parents you set her up. That you ruined her out of spite. I laughed softly. She ruined herself. Yeah, Ashley sighed. I know. But she doesn't. I could have ended the call there. I probably should have. But a question had been building in the back of my mind for months. And suddenly it surfaced. How long did you know? Silence. Then, quietly, I knew she was unhappy. I didn't know she was cruel. I didn't push further. What was the point? The damage was done. The next time Olivia popped up, it wasn't through her sister. It was through Sophie, one of the rescue squad members I hadn't heard from since the spa trip. She DM'd me. I don't know why I opened it. I know I don't deserve a response. I just wanted to say, I'm sorry. I saw the chat. The photos. All of it. I should have said something sooner. I didn't reply. Not because I was angry. Because it didn't matter anymore. That entire world Olivia built carefully, stylishly, manipulatively had crumbled. Her friends stopped answering her calls. Her family started asking real questions. Russell's wife filed for divorce. The firm distanced itself with a statement so vague it might as well have been written by a robot. And Olivia? She started showing up at places we used to go. Familiar corners of town. Little breadcrumb trails. Ethan saw her sitting alone at the cafe on 3rd. No phone. Just staring out the window. She looked like she was waiting for someone, he said. She always is, I muttered. And the cruel irony? She had no idea I was already gone. Not just physically. Emotionally. Mentally. Spiritually. I wasn't part of her story anymore. She lost the game because she never realized I stopped playing. Camille never asked questions I wasn't ready to answer. She wasn't probing or suspicious, didn't poke at the scars with soft fingers pretending to care. She just let things be. Gave them time. Space. We talked about gardens. About how she used to live in a studio apartment with one sad aloe plant and how now she can't stop planting things just to see what lives. One evening we sat on a bench outside the community greenhouse watching the bees float from flower to flower. She handed me a lemon poppy seed muffin she baked herself. You ever think about what you'd be doing if your life had gone differently? She asked. I thought for a minute. Then said, yeah, but I don't dwell on it. I think about what I want to do now. She nodded. Good answer. I liked her laugh. It wasn't sharp or performative. It was soft and genuine, like it came from somewhere that still believed people could surprise you in a good way. After that, we started seeing each other more. No pressure. No grand gestures. Just presence. Ease. She never asked about Olivia. I didn't bring it up. But one afternoon, while we were walking past an old record store, she paused and looked over at me. You're quiet today, she said gently. I shrugged. Some days I feel like I'm still crawling out of something. Even though it's over. She didn't ask what it was. She didn't need to. She just took my hand. And that moment? That meant more to me than any apology, any closure, any grand performance of healing. Because it was real. Because it was kind. And after years of manipulation, control, and curated affection, I was finally sitting next to someone who didn't need me to be anything but honest. That's when I realized I wasn't waiting to feel whole again. I already was. Not perfect. Not fixed. But mine. That night, I deleted the last folder I had on Olivia. Photos, documents, texts, gone. She didn't own my memory anymore. And for the first time in a very long time, I slept easy. It was a rainy Thursday when she showed up. I was pulling weeds outside Camille's place. Just one of those quiet, drizzly afternoons where the whole world feels muted. The smell of wet soil, distant thunder rumbling low, and my hands deep in the dirt. Peaceful. Then I heard it. The sound of tires crunching gravel. A black BMW parked across the street. And when the door opened, it was her. Olivia. She didn't belong in the rain. Not in her heels. Not in that cream coat. Not with her makeup just slightly smudged. Like she didn't know what she wanted to say. Only that she had to be seen saying it. She walked toward me like she was walking into a negotiation. Like this was just another PR crisis to clean up. I stood up slowly, wiped my hands on my jeans, and met her halfway down the driveway. "Mike," she said, her voice soft, way too soft, almost rehearsed. I didn't answer. She bit her lip. I was driving through and just, I don't know. I thought maybe we could talk. Talk, right? About what? She blinked, like I'd thrown off her script. Us. Everything. There is no us, Olivia. A pause. Her hands were tucked into her coat sleeves. She stepped forward, just enough for me to smell the perfume she used to wear on our anniversary. Subtle, sweet, weaponized. "I made mistakes," she said, eyes welling just enough. "But I never stopped loving you." That was the line. The one she always used when she wanted the slate wiped clean. But this time, I didn't budge. "You loved control," I said. "Not me. Mike. I was your stability, your convenience, your plan A until something shinier came along." Her lip trembled, but I didn't care. She looked over my shoulder, probably expecting a glimpse of Camille, probably hoping for some sign that I hadn't really moved on, that she could still crack the door open just a little. But there was no door to open. "You don't get to rewrite this," I said quietly. "Not here. Not anymore." She swallowed hard. "I lost everything." I nodded once. "So did I. The difference is, I built something better out of it." She looked down, and for the first time, I saw something real flicker in her eyes. Not guilt. Defeat. "You really aren't coming back," she whispered. "No," I said. "But you can keep the lies. They fit you better than the truth ever did." She opened her mouth to respond, but I turned before she could. Walked back toward the house. Toward peace. Toward Camille. I didn't look back. And she didn't follow. Because deep down, even Olivia knew, I was no longer hers to manipulate. A few weeks passed after Olivia's visit. No more texts. No voicemails. No cryptic accidental encounters. Just silence. And for once, it didn't feel heavy. Felt earned. I kept going. Working during the day, woodshop at night, community garden on Saturdays. Camille and I took our time, no labels, no pressure. Just two people with matching wounds and enough grace to let them heal slow. One night, we were sitting on her back porch, wrapped in a blanket, the sound of cicadas humming in the dark. She looked over at me and said, "You never talk about her." I shrugged. "She's not the story anymore." Camille smiled at that. "Then who is?" That stuck with me. I'd spent so long seeing myself as the guy who got cheated on. The fool. The loyal dog who finally bit back. But that wasn't me. Not really. Because what came after Olivia wasn't revenge. It was rebirth. I started building furniture again. Not just for clients, for me. Tables, chairs, custom shelving. I carved my initials into the back of every piece like I used to when I was younger. I started sketching again too. Not buildings this time, just ideas. Dreams. Stuff I never gave myself permission to explore when I was too busy playing husband, mediator, peacekeeper. I reconnected with my sister. Took a trip with Ethan and his kids to the coast. I even taught his oldest how to use a jigsaw without cutting off his thumb. One day, Camille and I drove up into the hills just outside of town. There's this overlook with a view that makes you feel like the whole world still got room for second chances. She pulled out a thermos of coffee and leaned against the railing. "I used to think I was hard to love," she said. I didn't respond right away. Then I said, "I used to think love meant giving up parts of yourself until someone was comfortable enough to stay." We were quiet after that. Not because there was nothing left to say, but because, for once, nothing needed to be said. Later that week, I stood in front of the bathroom mirror and really looked at myself. Not the lines. Not the tired eyes. The man. And I didn't see a victim anymore. I saw someone who had every reason to fall apart. And chose to rebuild. Brick by brick. In silence. In peace. And in the image of someone he could finally respect. It started with a forwarded email. Camille and I were having coffee on a quiet Sunday morning when it popped up in my inbox, subject line, "Heads up, you'll want to see this." It was from Lauren. Yeah, that Lauren. I hadn't heard from her since she handed me the folder. We weren't friends. Not even close. But something in the tone of her message made me open it immediately. Inside? A screenshot of a blog post. From an industry gossip site that specialized in corporate exposés. Headline, CEO's affair leads to internal collapse at coaching empire. I read every word. Turns out Russell's fall from grace wasn't as quiet as Olivia hoped. A whistleblower inside the company, not Lauren, someone else, leaked a second wave of documents. This time including details about how Olivia got promoted. Specific names, emails, transactions. The blog didn't pull punches. Anonymous sources within the company alleged that Olivia Carrington, former director of client strategy, leveraged an inappropriate relationship with CEO Russell Clark to manipulate internal policy, gain favor, and suppress ethical concerns from coworkers. It went viral. Fast. By the end of the day, it was trending on LinkedIn. Someone on Reddit even connected the dots between the blog post and a wedding planning forum where Olivia had once been very vocal about outgrowing your partner. Her reputation, professionally, personally, was gone in 48 hours. The best part? She couldn't blame me. I hadn't said a word. Not to a soul. I hadn't leaked anything. I didn't need to. She burned her own bridge. All I'd done was step back and let the fire breathe. Later that week, Ethan told me she'd reached out to Russell. He ghosted her. Blocked her number. Cleared her from LinkedIn. Completely erased her. Poetic. Then came the kicker. She tried to file a wrongful termination suit. It was dismissed before it even hit a docket. Why? Because the company had everything. Signed statements. Digital trails. Calendar syncs. Hotel bookings expensed under client recovery. They buried her. No payout. No settlement. Just a quiet, humiliating exit and a black mark on her career that no rebrand could wash away. She thought she could escape it all. Spin it. Gaslight her way through. But you can only lie to everyone else for so long. Eventually, the truth finds its way out. And this time, it screamed. As I read the last paragraph of that blog, Camille walked over, mug in hand. Bad news. I looked up at her. No, I said. Just closure. It was almost poetic. The last time I saw Olivia wasn't some explosive confrontation, no final scream in a parking lot or teary-eyed confession on a voicemail. It was in a conference room downtown. Not by choice, court-ordered mediation over a lingering joint asset we hadn't fully closed out. A retirement fund we'd both contributed to. The last tie. She walked in 15 minutes late, sunglasses still on, probably hoping to look powerful. But power doesn't look like effort. It looks like peace. And that day, I had all of it. She sat down across from me, arms folded, chin up like she still had a role to play. Her lawyer whispered something, but I barely heard it. I was focused on her face. She looked tired. Not worn down from life. From loss. The kind that doesn't come with sympathy. The kind you earn when you lie to everyone, including yourself. I signed the final document in silence. Then the mediator turned to her. You're welcome to respond. She didn't move for a moment. Then, quietly. Mike. I looked at her. She swallowed. You really never loved me? That hit different than I expected. Not because it hurt, it didn't. Because it told me exactly what kind of person she still was. Even after everything, she was still trying to find a version of the story where she wasn't the villain. Where I had failed her. Where she was wronged. So I gave her the only truth she'd understand. I did love you, I said, voice calm. But not the way you loved me. I showed up. I stayed. I built a life. You built a performance. She didn't respond. And then the moment I didn't plan, didn't rehearse, I stood up, looked her dead in the eyes, and said, I'm not your rescue dog anymore. She flinched. Just a little. And I walked out of that room with my name, my peace, and nothing left to explain. That was 6 months ago. These days I wake up early. My hands smell like cedar and glue more often than soap. I've got 2 custom orders waiting in the shop and a weekend trip planned with Camille to a quiet cabin up north. She asked me once if I ever regretted any of it, the marriage, the fallout, the fire it took to finally break free. And I told her the truth. No, because that man she tried to break? He had to die for this one to live. So if you're sitting in the ruins of something you thought would last forever, don't mourn it. Build from it. Because sometimes the most beautiful thing you can become is someone no one saw coming.